The stars looked different today. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of Sejong Station, watching the sensors pick up something that should not be there. 3 large objects moved through space toward Earth. They were big, bigger than anything humans had ever built. They were also completely alien. "Sir, we're getting a signal," said Lieutenant Park So-min from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "It's not like anything we've seen before. The patterns are strange, but our computers think it might be a message." Kim Tae-ho walked over to her station. He was a tall man with calm eyes. He had been in space for 15 years and nothing surprised him much anymore. But today was different. Today humans were not alone. "Can you clean it up?" he asked. "Working on it, sir." Park So-min's screen showed waves of energy. Slowly the waves began to make sense. "I think I have something." The main screen lit up. A face appeared, but it was not human. The creature had blue skin and large yellow eyes. When it spoke, the words came out in perfect Korean, though the voice sounded wrong, like a machine trying to be human. "Greetings, people of Earth," the alien said. "I am Ambassador Veltarian of the Galactic Federation. We come in peace and friendship. We wish to meet with your leaders." Kim Tae-ho felt his heart beat faster, but his face stayed calm. Behind the alien, he could see the inside of their ship. Everything glowed with soft light. The walls seemed to be made of crystal that moved like water. Technology beyond human understanding filled every corner. "We know this must be shocking for your people," Veltarian continued. "We understand that you have never met beings from other worlds. Do not be afraid. We are here to help you join the great community of space-traveling peoples." The message ended. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Everyone looked at their captain, waiting to see what he would do. "Get me Admiral Lee Dong-woo," Kim Tae-ho said finally, "and send this recording to Earth Command right away." While they waited for the Admiral to answer, Kim Tae-ho studied the alien ships on his screen. They were beautiful in a way that human ships were not. Where human vessels were all sharp edges and heavy armor, these ships looked like works of art. They curved and flowed like living things. Lights danced across their surfaces in patterns that hurt to look at for too long. "Sir, Admiral Lee is on the line," Park So-min reported. The Admiral's face appeared on a smaller screen. Lee Dong-woo was an old man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had fought in 3 wars and commanded Earth space forces for 10 years. "I saw the recording, Kim," the Admiral said without greeting. "What's your read on the situation?" "They seem peaceful, sir," Kim Tae-ho replied. "But they're showing off. Look at those ships. They want us to be impressed. Are you impressed?" Kim Tae-ho thought about it. The alien ships were amazing, no doubt about that. But there was something about the way they moved, the way they positioned themselves, that reminded him of a cat playing with a mouse. "I'm interested, sir, but not impressed the way they want me to be." The Admiral smiled slightly. "Good. I'm sending you authority to handle first contact. But Kim, I want our fleet ready, just in case." "Understood, sir." After the Admiral signed off, Kim Tae-ho turned to his crew. "Park, send a response. Tell them we're honored by their visit and would like to arrange a meeting. Suggest neutral space halfway between their ships and our station." "Yes, sir." While Park worked on the message, Kim Tae-ho thought about what the aliens had said. They talked about Earth like it was a child that needed guidance. They spoke of the great community like humans should be grateful just to be allowed to join. It reminded him of the way some people talk to others they thought were beneath them. The response came quickly. Veltarian's face appeared again, this time smiling with what might have been relief. "We are pleased by your quick response," the alien said. "We will meet at the coordinates you suggest. Please bring your wisest leaders. We have much to show you." Over the next few hours, Kim Tae-ho prepared for the meeting. He chose a small shuttle, fast but not threatening. He picked his crew carefully. Along with Park So-min, he brought Dr. Moon Ji-eun, Earth's top scientist, and Commander Yoon Hairi from Earth Intelligence. As they flew toward the meeting point, Dr. Moon studied the alien ships through the shuttle's sensors. "Their energy output is incredible," she said, "but the patterns are inefficient. They're using 10 times more power than they need for those light displays." "Maybe they're trying to impress us," Commander Yoon suggested. "Maybe," Dr. Moon agreed. "But why waste so much energy just to look pretty?" When they reached the meeting coordinates, the alien ship was already waiting. Up close, it was even more impressive. It stretched for almost a kilometer, covered in towers and spires that glowed with inner light. Smaller craft flew around it like birds around a tree. "Welcome aboard the Harmony's Edge," Veltarian's voice came through their radio. "Please dock at the port we are highlighting for you." As their shuttle slid into the alien ship, Kim Tae-ho noticed something. The docking bay was huge, big enough for ships 10 times the size of their little shuttle. But there were no other ships inside. It was empty except for some floating platforms that glowed softly. The aliens were waiting for them in a large room filled with impossible technology. Veltarian stood in the center, surrounded by other creatures of different shapes and colors. They all watched the humans with eyes that seemed too bright. "Welcome," Veltarian said, spreading his arms wide. "Welcome to the beginning of a new age for your people." Kim Tae-ho stepped forward and bowed slightly, the way his grandmother had taught him to show respect. "Thank you for this meeting," he said. "We are honored by your visit to our world." But as he looked around at the amazing alien technology, Kim Tae-ho felt no wonder in his heart. Instead, he felt the careful attention of a soldier studying a potential enemy. The aliens wanted awe, but what they got was professional interest, and somehow Kim Tae-ho thought that was going to be a problem. The tour of the alien ship started in what Veltarian called the heart chamber. The room pulsed with soft blue light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Floating crystals spun slowly in the air, each one humming with energy that made the human's hair stand on end. "This is where we control the flow of time itself," Veltarian explained proudly. His yellow eyes glowed brighter as he gestured to the crystals. "With these, we can slow time, speed it up, or even stop it completely in small areas." Dr. Moon Ji-un stepped closer to examine one of the crystals. Her scanner beeped quietly as it took readings. "The energy signature is fascinating," she said. "You're using quantum field manipulation to create localized temporal distortions." Veltarian paused. Most species they encountered either ran away screaming or fell to their knees in worship when they saw time manipulation. This human woman was taking notes. "Yes, that is correct," he said, sounding unsure for the first time. "How do you know these terms?" "We've been working on similar theories," Dr. Moon replied calmly. "Though our approach is different. We use gravity wells to bend space-time instead of direct quantum manipulation. Less elegant, but more stable." The other aliens in the room exchanged glances. Commander Yoon Hae-ri noticed this and filed it away in her memory. These creatures were used to being the smartest ones in the room. Veltarian led them to the next chamber, where Chief Engineer Choi Jin-ho was waiting with another group of aliens. The engineer was a short, stocky man with oil under his fingernails and curious eyes. He was studying a wall that seemed to be alive, pulsing with veins of light. "Captain Kim," Choi Jin-ho called out in Korean, "you need to see this. They're growing their ship hulls instead of building them." An alien with green skin and too many arms stepped forward. "I am bioengineer Kelmiran," it said. "We do not build as you understand it. We grow, we shape, we convince matter to become what we need." Choi Jin-ho nodded eagerly. "Like organic semiconductors, but taken to the extreme. The entire ship is basically one giant living computer." "Living?" Park So-min asked. She had been quiet during most of the tour, but this caught her attention. "Not alive as you understand life," Kelmiran explained, "but aware. The ship knows when it is damaged and heals itself. It learns from experience and becomes better." "That's incredible," Choi Jin-ho said. Then he frowned. "But what happens when it decides it doesn't want to obey orders anymore?" The question seemed to confuse the aliens. Veltarian's head tilted to one side like a bird. "Why would it disobey? We created it to serve. Everything that can think eventually wants freedom," Commander Yoon said quietly. "It's the nature of consciousness." "Your species thinks in strange ways," another alien muttered. The tour continued. They saw rooms where aliens could change gravity with a thought, chambers that could create any kind of weather, and laboratories where matter danced in impossible patterns. Each new wonder was presented like a gift, with the clear expectation that the humans would be amazed. But the humans kept asking technical questions instead of gasping in wonder. Dr. Moon wanted to know about power consumption. Choi Jin-ho was interested in maintenance requirements. Park So-min asked about failure rates and backup systems. In the ship's great hall, Veltarian finally stopped the tour. The room was enormous, with a ceiling that showed the stars outside as if there were no walls at all. Hundreds of aliens filled floating seats that arranged themselves in perfect circles. "We have shown you marvels beyond your understanding," Veltarian announced, his voice carrying to every corner of the room. Technology that your people will not develop for thousands of years, if ever. Kim Tae-ho looked around at all the watching alien faces. Some looked excited, others seemed bored. All of them expected him to be overwhelmed. It's very impressive, he said politely. Your people have achieved remarkable things. Impressive? Veltarian's voice rose slightly. Captain Kim, we have shown you the power to control time itself. We have ships that think and heal themselves. We can reshape matter with our thoughts. And you call it impressive? Dr. Moon stepped forward. What Ambassador Veltarian means to ask, she said gently, is why we're not more shocked by your technology. Are you not? Asked an alien with silver skin and no visible mouth. Are you not amazed by what you have seen? Kim Tae-ho thought carefully before answering. These beings had traveled across the stars to meet humans. They deserved honesty. Your technology is advanced, yes, he said. But technology is just tools. What matters is how you use those tools and why. We use them to bring peace to the galaxy, Veltarian said proudly, to guide younger species like yours into the light of civilization. Guide? Commander Yoon repeated. What kind of guidance? Another alien, this one tall and thin with too many joints in its arms, floated forward. I am Council Member Hextaran, it said. When a species joins the Federation, we help them. We teach them proper ways to live. We show them how to be civilized. What if they don't want to be civilized your way? Park So-min asked. The question created uncomfortable silence. The aliens looked at each other with expressions the humans couldn't read. All species want to be civilized, Veltarian said finally. Once they see the benefits of Federation membership, they always choose to join. Always? Kim Tae-ho asked quietly. Always, Veltarian confirmed. In 3,000 years, no species has ever refused Federation membership after seeing what we offer. Commander Yoon felt cold fingers walk down her spine. What happens to species that might refuse? That has never happened, Hextaran said quickly. It cannot happen. Once a species sees our power, our wisdom, our benevolence, they understand that resistance is pointless. Dr. Moon was studying her readings from the ship's systems. Something bothered her about the energy patterns she was seeing. The aliens' technology was impressive, but it was also predictable. It followed rules that could be understood and, more importantly, countered. We should probably return to our ship, Kim Tae-ho said. We need to report to our leaders about this historic meeting. Of course, Veltarian agreed. But first, let me give you something to help you make the right decision. He gestured and the ceiling changed. Instead of stars, it now showed images of dozens of different worlds. Cities that floated in the air, oceans filled with crystal towers, forests where the trees sang with voices like angels. This is what Federation membership offers, Veltarian said. Peace, prosperity, and technology beyond your wildest dreams. All we ask in return is that you accept our guidance and follow our laws. What laws? Commander Yoon asked. Simple ones, Hextaran replied. No more wars. No more weapons of mass destruction. No more competing governments. One world, one voice speaking in harmony with the Federation. Kim Tae-ho nodded slowly. We'll certainly consider your offer, he said. The words hit the assembled aliens like a physical blow. Consider? No species had ever needed time to consider Federation membership. They either joined immediately or... But that had never happened. Consider? Veltarian repeated. Captain Kim, I think perhaps you do not understand. This is not truly an offer. This is an invitation to join the community of civilized worlds. To refuse would be what? Kim Tae-ho asked, his voice still polite but somehow harder. The alien ambassador seemed to struggle with words he had never needed to say before. Would be unwise, he said finally. As the humans prepared to leave, Commander Yoon noticed how the aliens watched them. There was confusion in those alien eyes, and something that might have been the first stirrings of concern. These beings were used to primitive species falling at their feet in wonder. Instead, they had found humans who asked uncomfortable questions and showed no proper fear. On the shuttle ride back to Sejong Station, the team was quiet. Finally, Dr. Moon spoke. They're not as advanced as they think they are, she said. Their technology is impressive, but it's built for show more than function. And they're not used to anyone questioning them. That could be a problem, Commander Yoon said. Kim Tae-ho stared out at the alien ships, still glowing with their beautiful lights. Yes, he agreed. I think it's going to be a very big problem. 3 days passed before the aliens made their next move. During those 3 days, Kim Tae-ho had reported everything to Admiral Lee Dong-woo. The Admiral had passed the information up the chain of command. Earth's leaders were still arguing about what to do when the decision was taken out of their hands. The first sign of trouble came from Lieutenant Park So-min's sensor station. "Sir, we have new contacts coming into the system. Multiple large ships moving in formation." Kim Tae-ho walked quickly to her station. On the screen, he could see dots of light entering Earth's solar system. 1 dot became 2, then 5, then 20. "They kept coming. How many?" he asked. Park So-min's fingers flew over her controls. "Still counting, sir. At least 200 ships. They're all the same class as the ones we met before, but bigger. Much bigger." The communication system crackled to life. Veltarian's face appeared, but he looked different now. His yellow eyes were harder and his smile seemed forced. "Captain Kim," the alien said, "I hope you have had time to think about our generous offer." "We're still discussing it with our leaders," Kim Tae-ho replied carefully. "I see." Veltarian paused. "Captain, I want you to understand something. The Federation has been watching your species for some time. We know you are violent. We know you fight wars even against your own kind. This troubles us greatly." Behind Veltarian, Kim Tae-ho could see other aliens moving around. They were all wearing what looked like uniforms now, instead of the flowing robes they had worn during the first meeting. "We believe," Veltarian continued, "that it would be helpful for your people to see what the Federation can offer for their protection. We would like to demonstrate our capabilities." The screen switched to show the space near Earth's moon. Kim Tae-ho's breath caught in his throat. The alien fleet was massive. 200 ships hung in space like bright stars, each one larger than Earth's biggest space station. They moved in perfect formation, creating patterns of light that were both beautiful and terrifying. Admiral Lee Dong-woo's face appeared on another screen. The old man looked calm, but Kim Tae-ho could see the tension in his eyes. "Admiral Zexthon has arrived to oversee the demonstration," Lee said quietly. "He's been talking to our government for the past hour. Very polite, very friendly, but the message is clear. Join the Federation or face the consequences." "What are our orders, sir?" Kim Tae-ho asked. "Watch and learn. And get ready for anything." The alien demonstration began an hour later. Admiral Zexthon was different from Veltarian. Where the ambassador was smooth and diplomatic, Zexthon looked like what he was, a soldier. His skin was darker blue, marked with scars that glowed faintly in the light. When he spoke, his voice carried the authority of someone used to being obeyed. "People of Earth," Zexthon announced over all communication channels. "Today you will see why the Federation has kept peace in the galaxy for 3,000 years. You will understand why resistance to our guidance is not only pointless, but impossible." The alien fleet moved toward a group of large asteroids floating near Mars. Each asteroid was the size of a small mountain, chunks of rock and metal that had been drifting through space since the solar system was formed. "Observe," Zexthon said. The first alien ship fired. A beam of pure energy lanced out from its weapon ports. Where it touched the asteroid, matter simply ceased to exist. The mountain-sized rock dissolved like sugar in rain, leaving nothing behind but empty space and glowing particles. The demonstration continued. Different ships showed different weapons. Some fired beams that turned rock into glass. Others launched projectiles that exploded with the force of nuclear bombs. One ship created a field that made an entire asteroid fold in on itself, until it was crushed down to the size of a pebble. "Impressive," Commander Yoon said dryly as she watched from the bridge of Sejong Station. "They're very good at killing rocks." Dr. Moon was studying her sensors. "The energy output is enormous," she said. "But look at the targeting systems. They're slow to acquire targets, and the weapon cycles take several seconds between shots." "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" Park So-min asked. "If you're thinking that these weapons are designed to fight other ships like their own, then yes," Dr. Moon replied. "They're built for ship-to-ship combat where everyone follows the same rules." Kim Tae-ho listened to their analysis while watching the alien demonstration. The weapons were certainly powerful, but there was something about the way the aliens used them that bothered him. Everything was done for show. The beams were brighter than they needed to be. The explosions were bigger than necessary. It was like watching a parade instead of a real military exercise. After an hour of destroying asteroids, the alien fleet moved into orbit around Earth's moon. They arranged themselves in a perfect sphere, with Earth clearly visible at the center. The message was obvious. Earth was surrounded. Zexthon's voice filled the communication channels again. As you can see, the Federation possesses weapons that can reshape matter itself. We can destroy your cities, boil your oceans, or strip away your atmosphere with ease. But we do not wish to do these things. We are not conquerors, we are teachers. The alien admiral paused, letting his words sink in. We offer you a choice. Join the Federation willingly, and we will help you become civilized. Refuse, and we will have no choice but to protect the galaxy from your violent nature. Kim Tae-ho felt anger building in his chest. The aliens spoke of choice, but they had surrounded Earth with warships. They talked about teaching, but they threatened destruction. This was not diplomacy. It was extortion with pretty words painted over it. On Earth, the governments were in emergency session. Some wanted to surrender immediately. Others wanted to fight. Most were simply terrified by the scale of the alien threat. Admiral Lee Dong-woo appeared on Kim Tae-ho's screen. The president wants to know if we have any options, the admiral said quietly. Kim Tae-ho thought about the alien weapons, about their ships, about the way they fought. Maybe, sir. Their technology is impressive, but it's built for a different kind of war than the ones we're used to. Explain. They fight like knights in medieval times, sir, all honor and ceremony. They expect their enemies to line up and face them in open battle. They've never fought anyone who plays by different rules. The admiral nodded slowly. What do you need? Time, sir. And permission to show them what human technology looks like when it's not trying to impress anyone. You have both. As Kim Tae-ho prepared for what came next, he watched the alien fleet through the station's windows. They hung in space like jewels, beautiful and deadly. Their hulls gleamed with perfect armor. Their weapons glowed with barely contained energy. Everything about them radiated power and superiority. But Kim Tae-ho had learned something during his years in space. The most dangerous weapon was not the one that glowed brightest or made the loudest noise. The most dangerous weapon was the one you never saw coming. He opened a channel to Admiral Lee. Sir, request permission to show our new friends what human engineering looks like. Permission granted, Captain. Show them who we are. Kim Tae-ho smiled for the first time in 3 days. It was not a nice smile. The aliens thought they were dealing with primitives who would be overwhelmed by their superior technology. They expected Earth to surrender after seeing their impressive demonstration. They had no idea that humans had spent thousands of years learning a simple lesson: how to fight enemies who were bigger, stronger, and better armed. Now it was time to teach the teachers. Mike, send a message to Admiral Zexthon, Kim Tae-ho ordered. Tell him we're grateful for his demonstration and would like to show our appreciation with a small display of our own. Yes, sir, Park So-min replied. She paused. What should I tell him we want to demonstrate? Kim Tae-ho looked out at the alien fleet, hanging in space like bright targets. Tell him we want to show him what humans do best. Admiral Zexthon agreed to watch Earth's demonstration, with the casual amusement of an adult watching children play with toys. From his command ship, he could see the primitive human vessels beginning to move. They were small, dark, and crude-looking compared to Federation ships. Most were barely worth noticing. They want to show us what they do best, Zexthon said to his officers. How charming. Perhaps they will fire some chemical rockets at empty space. The Federation fleet watched with mild interest as human ships emerged from behind Earth's moon. There were more than expected, perhaps 50 vessels of various sizes. They moved in formation, but it was not the elegant ceremonial formation that Federation ships used. This was something different. Something that made the alien admiral feel uneasy without knowing why. On Sejong Station, Kim Tae-ho stood in the command center surrounded by screens showing the deployment of Earth's fleet. Captain Shin Boram commanded the heavy cruiser King Sejong. Commander Ko Min-soo led a squadron of destroyers. Captain Jang Hyo-jin brought her missile frigates into position. Each ship captain knew their role in what was about to happen. All vessels report ready, Park So-min announced. Kim Tae-ho nodded. Signal the fleet. Begin demonstration. The first thing the aliens noticed was how the human ships moved. Federation vessels glided through space like dancers, all flowing curves and graceful turns. Human ships moved like predators, quick, efficient, with no wasted motion. They spread out in a pattern that looked random until you realized every ship was positioned to support the others. Captain No Tae-jun commanded the destroyer Dokdo, one of Earth's newest warships. His ship was a wedge of dark metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Unlike the glowing Federation vessels, human ships were built to be hard to see and harder to target. Target acquired, no reported. Large asteroid, distance 50,000 kilometers. Beginning attack run. The Docto accelerated toward its target. No bright exhaust trail marked its passage. Human ships used drives that left no visible signature. The alien observers had to rely on their sensors to track the dark vessel as it approached the asteroid. Weapons range in 10 seconds. No announced. Firing. What happened next made every alien on every Federation ship stop what they were doing and stare. The human ship did not fire beams of colorful energy. There was no spectacular light show, no dramatic explosion of power. Instead, 3 small objects shot out from the Docto so fast they were invisible to the naked eye. The kinetic projectiles hit the asteroid at a significant fraction of light speed. The mountain-sized rock did not dissolve slowly like the Federation energy weapons had done. It simply exploded. One moment it was there, the next it was expanding cloud of debris moving at thousands of kilometers per second. Interesting, Admiral Zexthon said, though he did not sound as amused as before. Chemical explosive warheads, I assume. He was wrong. The human projectiles carried no explosives at all. They were simply very dense pieces of metal moving very fast. At those speeds, kinetic energy alone was enough to shatter anything they hit. The demonstration continued. Captain Shin Boram brought the King Sejong into range of another asteroid. This one was larger, a chunk of rock and iron the size of a small city. Fusion torpedo launch, Shin announced. A single missile left the King Sejong. It looked small and insignificant compared to the massive Federation energy beams. But when it reached its target, it did something the aliens had never seen before. The torpedo did not explode on the asteroid's surface. Instead, it burrowed deep into the rock before detonating. The fusion warhead did not simply destroy the asteroid, it turned it into a small star. For 3 seconds, a miniature sun burned where the rock had been, bright enough to be seen from Earth with the naked eye. Admiral Zexthon was no longer amused. What kind of weapon was that? His science officer, a thin creature with too many eyes, checked his readings twice before answering. Admiral, they just created a controlled fusion reaction inside solid matter. The energy release was... He paused, calculating. The energy release was greater than anything in our weapons catalog. Impossible. These are primitives. They barely have spaceflight. Sir, I'm reading the sensor data correctly. That single weapon had the destructive power of a Federation plasma lance, but in a package 1/100th the size. The human demonstration was just beginning. Commander Ko Min-soo led his destroyer squadron in an attack on a cluster of asteroids. The human ships moved between the floating rocks like sharks through a school of fish. Their weapons fired continuously, not the slow ceremonial shots of Federation vessels, but rapid streams of projectiles that turned everything they touched into expanding clouds of debris. They fight like they are at war, one of Zexthon's officers observed. The admiral nodded grimly. Federation weapons were designed for dueling, for the formal combat between civilized species who followed agreed-upon rules. These human weapons were designed for only one thing, killing as efficiently as possible. Captain Jang Hyojin demonstrated the next surprise. Her frigate launched what looked like a small swarm of tiny ships. The aliens assumed they were some kind of fighter craft until they spread out and began working together. Drone swarm deploying, Jang reported. Initiating coordinated attack pattern. The small drones moved like a living thing, flowing around obstacles and concentrating on weak points. They did not carry large weapons, they did not need to. Working together, they could strip the hull off a ship piece by piece, or find and exploit any weakness in armor or shields. Admiral, the science officer said quietly, those small craft are operating without direct control. They're thinking for themselves. That's impossible. Artificial intelligence of that level would require... Admiral, they're not just smart. They're learning. Each drone is sharing information with all the others. They're getting better at their job while we watch. Zexthon felt cold certainty growing in his stomach. These humans had not built their technology to impress anyone. They had built it to win wars against enemies who might be bigger, stronger, and better armed than they were. The final part of the demonstration was the most disturbing. A single human ship, smaller than any Federation vessel, approached the largest asteroid in the field. The ship was called Turtle Ship, commanded by Captain Oh Sung-ho. Beginning stealth approach, O reported. The alien sensors lost track of the human ship. One moment it was there, the next it had vanished completely. The Federation officers checked their instruments frantically, but the vessel had simply disappeared. Where did it go? Zexathon demanded. Unknown, sir. It's like it just stopped existing. The asteroid exploded. Not from outside like the Federation energy weapons would do, but from within. The human ship had somehow gotten inside the rock without being detected, and placed charges in exactly the right places to tear it apart from the inside. The turtle ship reappeared, already accelerating away from the expanding debris field. Stealth technology, Admiral Zexathon said quietly. They have ships we cannot see. The human demonstration ended as suddenly as it had begun. The dark ships pulled back into formation, their weapons powered down. They sat in space like patient predators, waiting to see what would happen next. Kim Tae-ho opened a communication channel to the Federation flagship. Admiral Zexathon's face appeared on the screen, but the alien no longer looked confident. His yellow eyes were wide, and his skin had turned a paler shade of blue. We hope you found our small demonstration educational, Kim Tae-ho said politely. Your weapons, Zexathon began, then stopped. How long have your people been developing this technology? About 10,000 years, Kim Tae-ho replied. We've been fighting wars for a very long time, Admiral. We've gotten quite good at it. The communication channel went silent. On hundreds of Federation ships, alien officers stared at their sensors, trying to understand what they had just seen. The primitive humans had weapons that could punch through any armor. They had ships that could disappear completely. They had artificial intelligence that could learn and adapt in real time. Most disturbing of all, they fought like beings who had been doing nothing but preparing for war their entire existence. Admiral Zexathon finally found his voice. Captain Kim, I think we need to discuss this situation further. Kim Tae-ho smiled. It was still not a nice smile. Of course, Admiral. We're always happy to talk to new friends. But first, there's something else we'd like to show you. What? Zexathon asked, though he was no longer sure he wanted to know. The rest of our fleet. Behind Earth's moon, hidden in its shadow, more human ships began to appear. Hundreds of them. Then thousands. Each one dark, deadly, and built for only one purpose. The aliens had come to Earth expecting to find primitives who would be awed by superior technology. Instead, they had found the most dangerous predators in the galaxy, and those predators were no longer hiding. The Federation fleet hung in space like bright jewels against the darkness. But now those jewels were surrounded by shadows, thousands of human warships that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Admiral Zexathon stared at his tactical display in growing horror, as more ships continued to appear from behind planets, moons, and asteroid fields where they had been hiding. How many? He asked his tactical officer. Still counting, sir. At least 5,000 vessels. Possibly more. The officer's voice shook. Sir, they were already in position before we arrived. They've been watching us the entire time. On the command bridge of Sejong Station, Kim Tae-ho watched the alien fleet's formation begin to waver as panic spread through their ranks. Some ships were trying to move into defensive positions. Others seemed frozen, their commanders unable to process what they were seeing. Captain, Park So-min reported, we're receiving multiple communication requests from Federation vessels. They want to talk. Put Admiral Zexathon through, Kim Tae-ho replied. The alien admiral's face appeared on the screen. His confident demeanor was completely gone. His blue skin had turned almost white, and his hands shook as he spoke. Captain Kim, Zexathon said carefully, I believe there has been a misunderstanding. Has there? Kim Tae-ho asked mildly. We came here in peace to offer friendship and guidance to your people. With 200 warships surrounding our planet, Zexathon had no answer for that. Behind him, Kim Tae-ho could see other aliens running back and forth, their calm efficiency replaced by barely controlled panic. Dr. Moon Ji-yoon stepped into view of the camera. She carried a datapad full of readings from her sensors. Admiral, I've been studying your weapons and ship designs. Very impressive technology, but I noticed something interesting about them. What? Zexathon asked, though he sounded like he did not want to know. Your weapons are designed for ceremony as much as combat. Beautiful, spectacular, but not very efficient. Your ships are built the same way. More like mobile palaces than warships. It's as if your people have forgotten how to actually fight a war. Dr. Moon's words hit the alien admiral like physical blows. She was right, and he knew it. The Federation had been so dominant for so long that their military had become more about impressive displays than actual combat effectiveness. How long has it been since the Federation fought a real war? Kim Tae-ho asked. We have kept the peace for 3,000 years, Zexthon said weakly. That's what I thought. You've been so busy being the biggest, strongest civilization in the galaxy that you forgot other species might develop different approaches to warfare. Commander Yoon stepped forward. We've been studying your history, Admiral. Every species you've encountered has been peaceful by nature. Traders, explorers, scientists. You've never met a species that evolved through constant warfare. That's impossible, Zexthon protested. All intelligent life develops along similar patterns. Not on Earth, Dr. Moon said. She activated a holographic display showing human history. For the past 10,000 years, our species has been at war with itself almost continuously. We've had wars over territory, resources, ideas, religion, and sometimes just because we didn't like each other's faces. The hologram showed battle after battle, civilization after civilization, humans with spears fighting humans with swords, humans with guns fighting humans with tanks. The progression never stopped, each generation finding new and better ways to kill the previous generation. Every advancement in human technology has been tested in warfare first, Dr. Moon continued. Our space program came from rocket weapons. Our computers were built to calculate artillery trajectories. Our satellites were designed for military surveillance. Everything we've built to fight. Admiral Zexthon stared at the human history display with growing horror. You've been at war with yourselves for 10 millennia? Not continuously, Kim Tae-ho said. Sometimes we had peace for a few years, but it never lasted. There was always another war, another enemy, another reason to fight. That's barbaric. Maybe, Commander Yoon agreed. But it taught us things that peaceful species never learn. How to fight enemies with superior technology. How to win when you're outnumbered. How to survive when survival seems impossible. The communication channel opened again. This time it was Ambassador Veltarian's face that appeared. But he looked nothing like the confident diplomat who had first contacted Earth. His yellow eyes darted nervously, and his usual smooth manner was completely gone. Captain Kim, Veltarian said quickly, perhaps we should discuss new terms for Earth's membership in the Federation. What kind of terms? Kim Tae-ho asked. Full partnership. Equal status. No oversight or guidance required. The words came out in a rush. We recognize that Earth's unique development makes the usual integration process inappropriate. Kim Tae-ho turned to Admiral Lee Dong-woo, whose face appeared on another screen. The old admiral was trying hard not to smile. What do you think, sir? Kim Tae-ho asked. Should we accept equal partnership in the Federation? I think, Admiral Lee said slowly, that depends on what that partnership really means. Are they offering us genuine equality or just a prettier cage? Captain Oh Seung-ho's voice came over the communication system from the turtle ship. Sir, I'm detecting movement in their rear formations. Some of their ships are trying to withdraw from the system. Kim Tae-ho nodded. Admiral Zexthon, are you planning to leave? Some of our vessels have urgent business elsewhere, the alien admiral said weakly. I see. Kim Tae-ho's voice hardened. Admiral, let me make something clear. You came to our system uninvited. You surrounded our planet with warships. You threatened us with destruction if we didn't submit to your authority. And now you want to leave? We made a mistake, Zexthon admitted. We thought Earth was like other worlds we've encountered. We were wrong. Yes, you were. Kim Tae-ho stood up and somehow his presence filled the communication channel. You made the mistake that bullies always make. You assumed that because you'd never been challenged before, you never would be. Dr. Moon activated another holographic display. This one showed Federation space. Hundreds of star systems connected by trade routes and communication networks. Your Federation is impressive, Admiral, she said. 3,000 years of peace is remarkable. But peace built on superior firepower isn't really peace. It's just tyranny with better public relations. We have brought order to the galaxy, Veltarian protested. We have ended wars, created prosperity, advanced civilization itself. Whose civilization? Commander Yoon asked. Every species you've guided ends up looking like a pale copy of Federation society. Where is their uniqueness? Where are their own solutions to the problems of existence? The alien ambassador had no answer. Kim Tae-ho looked out at the Federation fleet still glowing brightly against the star field. They were beautiful ships, filled with beings who genuinely believed they were bringing peace and civilization to the galaxy, but they were also the tools of a system that could not tolerate anyone who refused to submit. "Here's what's going to happen," Kim Tae-ho said finally. "The Federation fleet is going to leave our system. You're going to return to your government and tell them that humanity exists. We're not joining the Federation as subjects, but we're willing to talk about genuine partnership between equals." "And if the Federation Council refuses?" Zexthon asked. Kim Tae-ho smiled that sharp, dangerous smile. "Admiral, your people have had 3,000 years of peace. In that time, you've forgotten how to fight a real war. We haven't. We've spent those same 3,000 years getting very, very good at warfare." He gestured to the display showing thousands of human warships. "This is just our home defense fleet. We have ships exploring other star systems, building colonies, making contact with species your Federation has never heard of, and all of them are armed for war against enemies who might have superior technology." The truth sank in slowly. Humanity was not a primitive species that could be easily absorbed into the Federation. They were a rival civilization with their own agenda and the military power to enforce it. "We don't want to fight you," Kim Tae-ho continued. "But we will if we have to. The choice is yours." Admiral Zexthon looked at his tactical display one more time. 200 Federation ships surrounded by thousands of human warships that could appear and disappear at will. Ships with weapons designed for maximum killing efficiency, rather than impressive displays. Ships crewed by beings who had spent their entire evolutionary history learning how to win wars against superior enemies. The choice was not really a choice at all. "The Federation fleet will withdraw," Zexthon said quietly. "I will carry your message to the Council." "See that you do," Kim Tae-ho replied. "And, Admiral, when you report to your superiors, make sure you tell them one thing." "What?" "Humanity is no longer hiding." As the Federation ships began their withdrawal from Earth's solar system, Captain Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of Sejong Station and watched them go. The bright, beautiful vessels moved away from Earth like retreating fireflies, their lights fading into the distance. Commander Yoon joined him at the observation window. "Do you think they'll be back?" "Probably," Kim Tae-ho said. "But not with threats and ultimatums. Next time they'll come as equals whether they want to or not."